Hello, dear friends. Here we are. What a blessing. We are talking today about the book by Andrea Luiz titled Green Light. Let's go check the settings real quick. Yeah, it works. The book Green Light by the Spirit Andrea Luiz through the mediumship of Francisco Cândido Xavier. And what a blessing to be with you today. And today's chapter is about separations. The times in our lives where we need to let people go, where they decide to go, and then later we come into the realization that they left, so we need to let them go. Sometimes we have to distance ourselves from different people. That doesn't mean we leave them alone, doesn't mean we stop loving them and caring for them, but there is a way to think about and deal with separation. So without further ado, chapter 38 starts with the following. Identification of the good. Sometimes it's necessary to accept the removal or distancing of many colleagues and on many occasions, even those who are close to us or closer to us. So he's saying sometimes people will leave. They leave work, they will leave relationships, which is a work or a job. It's a matter of building relationships as well. They leave families. We distance ourselves from friends who once were, but today we're different alignment and attunement with different things we used to like and do. So he says, with identification of goodness, it's necessary for the removal of distance to occur. He says, quote, you should bear the separation as much as trees bear pruning, unquote. We do that, right, to the companions of the Vestal Kingdom. If you're a gardener, you go outside and you look at the trees, and there are even videos and manuals on how to prune them. They accept it. The pruning of a tree allows the resource to be directed to areas where the growth is strong. You can remove diseased parts. Sometimes they are preventative from causing damage. So he says, bear the separation from those close to us, the same way that the trees bear pruning. He continues, it is a serious mistake to retain someone with us if they don't want it to be so. So it's a grave mistake to keep those we love if they are anxious for the distance. That's the direct translation. If they're anxious to distance themselves, which is hard because when we love folks, we want them to be around, right? We're still attached, but that's a teaching here in detachment, because ultimately we are to love the universal family. Just as Jesus loved each and every one of us, we will, with time and evolution and progress, get to love many people, not just the ones that are related to us directly by family ties, but the spiritual ties, and ultimately everyone. Yes, everyone. Even those who we criticize and think they're doing aberrations out there. Christ loves all of us and sees in you and I the divine seed of potential, the divine potential. So that's our destiny, to be one day a superior spirit. It says, in many cases, our destinies are similar to roads which bifurcate in order to serve the demands of progress. So you get to a road and you have to make a decision, left or right. And that's, he says, that's our destiny. We get to a point that you align in the good, and maybe the friends of the past, the companions of the past are still aligning. Trivial example, when we accept Jesus, truly accept him and say, okay, now I'm going to do the good. And then we learn that we need to triage our friendships in a sense that we are not yet to the point that we cannot be emotionally contaminated by the vices of others. So we stop doing things that were pleasurable and enjoyable in the past. That we know that attract spiritual companions of a low vibration. For example, happy hours. And then we stop doing those things. And then those friends go, they have the right to continue on that pathway. Then now we know we want a better companions. We want to spend our time in enjoyment of service with the spiritist friends, with the group of religious institutions, volunteering somewhere. And then there is a misalignment with those who are seeking just to enjoy. Life is just to be enjoyed, you only live once, and then you don't match anymore. Then you bifurcate. They go. God takes care of them whenever the time comes, and then you take care of your growth. So that's what he's saying here. There are destinies are similar to roads that bifurcate to attend to the designs of progress. We should never be constrained to anyone. We should never shame anyone because we are judgmental, right? We may not be saying it, but we think of it. It says don't cause any shame into anyone. It says if someone leaves us in the midst of while in the middle of a benevolent work, divine providence will provide new people who will support us in our good work. Unquote. Very important in our works of the good. How many of us say, I want to go to the Spiritist Center. I want to help, but then there's swim lesson, there's the gym, there's the barbecue, there's the park, and then they abandon us or we abandon them. However, Andrea Luiz is saying you're never alone. Remember, we're never alone. He says, divine providence will provide new people who support us in our work. If even Jesus was left betrayed by his companions, who are we, right? So we let those go. We understand and are on the point of doing the same works of good. And then because we can only change ourselves. So we keep doing the good work, even if it's by ourselves. Because today there's so many distractions. Oh, but you need to do self-care more. Oh, but you need to enjoy life. Oh, if you just work a little bit more to afford that little bigger of a house or better of a car, you'll be happier. The temptations of bringing us, reattaching us to the physical needs while we're desperately trying to detach and serve the greater good to fulfill the law of society so we can grow to be that superior spirit that we are going to become one day. He says we should never ask from others what they cannot give us. The same way that we don't give to others what we don't have, we don't ask of them. We don't ask of the companions. They're unable to stay with us in the works of the good because they're not ready to give us. And do not despise anyone. Let us learn to pray, how to pray for others in silence. So we continue to pray for them, to bless their work, that God will find a way to bring them toward back toward not God, because God laid out the laws. It's up to you and I to follow, but there are consequences to the actions. We're so behind in spread the good news of Spiritism in the English language, which each and every nuclei is so important, that each and every person is so important, that when we don't show up, the spirits are handicapped because they were counting on us and our spiritual fluid and our presence. There's nobody else to take our time, so we're compromising the group. Then we're delaying the progress there is of Christ's plan for the earth, of spreading his good news. So, but we let the people go. We kindly, non-judgmentally remind them of the responsibility of knowing all of these and not being the miser, not losing the talent, not being the one who didn't multiply the talent. This could bring so much goodness to the heart of people that every time we don't, we are incurring evil. Because remember, in the third part of the Spirit's book, the Spirits tell us that just not doing evil is not enough. You have to actively do the good. Neutral doesn't exist. Either we're doing the good or we're not doing the good. So it's good for us to think about how aligned are our actions. So he says, other people will show up who will do the work. We don't ask of people what they can give us. We don't despise anyone. We pray in silence for their well-being, that they find what they're looking for, that God can feel, they can drink of that living water that Jesus talks about in his parable, so that we can not be thirsty anymore, that we know of the love of God for us. Last phrase, quote, only God can judge the innermost of each and every one of us. Only God knows what is inside our hearts and minds, the depth of our souls. So we don't judge, we don't despise, but we pray. We don't give up. We continue in the pathway of goodness today and always. That includes the time we spend together. So I hope that this message can illuminate your day to day. God willing, I'll be back with you next week. And until between now and then, I wish you many, many blessings. Have a great day.